Bruchim haba and welcome everyone to a special edition of All Parsha on Parshas Chayei Sarah, the Baal Haturim on Parshas Chayei Sarah. This week I would like to share with you 10 amazing offerings of the Baal Haturim on the Parsha. Let's begin in the opening pasuk, the opening Baal Haturim on Parshas Chayei Sarah. Immediately before the beginning of Parshas Chayei Sarah, by Yiyu Chayei Sarah, is the narrative of the birth of Rivka, Uvesuel Yolad es Rivka. So amazingly, before we read about the demise of Sarah, we read about the birth of Rivka. This highlights that which Chazal tell us, Ad Shaloi Shaka Shimsha Shel Sarah, before the son of Sarah set, Zarcha Shimsha Shel Rivka, the son of Rivka rose. As Chazal say, that God does not take away a tzaddik until he first replaces and brings the next tzaddik. Well, the Baal Haturim says this concept of the Shemesh, Sarah, Mea Shana, Rashi Tevais Shemesh. This is what it means in Koheles, V'zarach HaShemesh Uva HaShemesh. First comes the rising of the sun of the next generation, and then comes the setting of the sun of the previous generation. Vayiyu Chayei Sarah. The numerical value of the word Vayiyu is 37. 2 vavs, that's 12. 2 yuds, that's 20, 32, and plus the hey, 37. Vayiyu Chayei Sarah. You want to know what the primary life of Sarah was? 37 years, from the time she was 90 years old until she was 127. Because since she had Yitzchak Avinu at age 90 and Akara Chashav Kames, Misha Ein Lo Banim Chashav Kames, so her real life began at age 90. Vayiyu Chayei Sarah. The primary life of Sarah was Vayihiyu. However, says the Chidah, Shnei Chayei Sarah, Kulan Shavim L'Taiva. Maybe that was her primary life, but she understood that every year of her life was Kol Man Da'avid Rachmana L'Tav Avid, and therefore the entirety of the life of Sarah were Kulan Shavin L'Taiva. Now we come to the well-known comments of the Baal Haturim on the second pasuk, V'liv Kaisa, and the chaf of the word liv Kaisa, Vayavoy Avraham Lispoid L'Sara V'liv Kaisa, and to cry for her. The chaf is small, to indicate that Avraham Avinu did not cry a lot, but only a little bit. Why? Either the Baal Haturim says because she was old, or because she caused her own death. The Baal Haturim says she was Masra Din. The Gemara says in Baba Kama Daf Tzadi Gimel, she says, Yishbetu Hashem beini uveinech, let God judge among the two of us. So she gave over their din to Shamayim. And anyone who gives over the din to Shamayim, hu nenash tchila, and therefore she was punished first, and therefore it is considered to an extent, to a degree that she caused her own demise, and therefore Abraham did not cry for her because she was on the level of Ma'abed Atzma Ladas. She is somewhat responsible for her own death. There's an amazing Roikeach who offers another explanation as to why there's a small chaf on the word V'liv Kaisa. The Roikeach says there is a certain commonality between Sarah Imenu and Yaakov Avinu. Sarah was the first to be buried in the Maras Machpelah, Yaakov the last. They both have a name that indicates Sarara, being a prince or a princess. Sarah or Yisrael, ki sarisan likim v'manashim. The difference between Sarah and Yaakov is Sarah lived till 127, Yaakov lived till 147. The difference is 20 years, indicated by the small chaf of V'liv Kaisa. We move on to Parak Chaf Gimel, Pasuk Gimel. Vayakam Avraham me'es me'al pnei me'sai, Vayidaber al b'nei ches. First Avraham got up from upon the face of his dead, and then he spoke. This hints to the teaching of Masechta Brachas Gimel Amud Beis that it is usher to speak in the presence of the mess. Says the Baal Haturim, 10 times in this parsha the b'nei ches are mentioned. This is a remes, that which Chazal teach us, that anyone who clarifies the purchase of a Talmid Chacham, anyone who does business with a Talmid Chacham, it's like they're Mekayim, the Aseres Hadibrais. We move on to Parak Chav Gimel, Pasuk Tes Zayin. Vayishma Avraham el Ephraim. Ephraim said, a land of 400 shekel. What is it between the two of us? And even though Ephraim said a lot, he didn't even do a little. Ultimately, he took from Ephraim what is called Shkolim Gedolim Kantarim, and therefore Ephraim is the quintessential Ayin Ra, Ra Ayin. Ephraim, Begamatria 400, Ra Ayin. Ra 270, Ayin 130. Gematria Taf. Taf, the final letter of the Hebrew alphabet, indicating complete destruction. Ayin Ra. Esav also comes with 400 men. Ephron Ksiv Chasar, indicating he was Ra Ayin, and he took the 400 shekel for the purchase of the Ma'ara. Now we know that this Ma'ara was bought by Abraham. It went to Yitzchak, it went to Yaakov, and who reared his ugly head as Yaakov was coming to be buried? Of course, it was Esav. And this too is Merumaz in Paragraph Gimel, Pasuk Yud Zayin. Vayakam Sedei Ephraim, which is Rashi Tevis backward. Vayakam Sedei Ephraim. Esav, says about Haturim, this is a remes to Esav, who will ultimately be ma'arer and challenge this purchase. Paragraph Daled, Pasuk Aleph. V'Avraham Zakein ba bayamim. Avraham was old, advanced in years. And Hashem blessed Abraham Bakoil. Bakoil is Begamatria Ben. And Abraham was blessed with a son. How old was Abraham when he had a son? Ba Yamim, says the Baal HaTurim. Ba Yamim. Yamim is 100. The age of Abraham Avinu is indicated in the Gematria of the word Ba Yamim. Perek Chav Daled, Pasuk Lamid Gimel. Says the holy Baal HaTurim. The pasuk says, "Vayusam lefanav le'achal." He placed before him to eat. Chazal say he didn't just give food; he tried to poison him. Says the Baal HaTurim. The word is spelled Vayisam. Vayisam is a lashon of Sam Hamaves. He put poison in his plate, and he tried to get him to eat quickly so he shouldn't notice. Now, the Baal HaTurim points out, Vayisam, it appears twice in the Masoretic note, Vayisam levan lachol, and Vayisam ba'arain. When it talks about the Patira of Yosef HaTzadik, he was placed in a coffin, indicating that what Lavan and Besuel wanted to do to Eliezer was place him in a coffin, poison him, and that would be the end of it. And he realized it, and therefore he said, Loi uchal, Loi oichal adem dibarti devarai. I am the Eved of Avraham, and I make sure I don't eat until I speak. What do I need to say? Netilas yadayim, hamoitzi. And with this, he was able to save himself from the poison, Vayisam, the two yuds, the poison of indicating Vayisam ba'aron. He was able to save his life. Offering number 9, Perek Chav Daled, Pasuk Mem Tes. So Eliezer tells Lavan and Besuel, and now, if you want to do kindness and truth, es adoini, with my master, hagiduli, let me know now. And if you don't want to, hagiduli, tell me, ve'efne al yamin o al smal, and I will turn to the right, or I'll turn to the left. The right, Rashi says, benois Yishmael. The left, Rashi says, the benois Lloyd. Says the Baal HaTurim, the gematria of al yamin o al smal is Yishmael. Unbelievable. These words, Al Yamin, Oy Al Smail, is Gematria Yishmael. So you say, how's that possible? The Rashi Tevois, Al Yamin, Oy Al Smail, 81, 151, 451, Gematria Yishmael. Al Yamin Oy, the gematria of Al Yamin Oy is gematria Be'amoin Umayav. So therefore Eliezer was saying, either agree to allow your daughter to marry the son of my master, or I will turn to Yishmael or Ammon Umayav. And finally, Perek Chav Daled, Pasuk Samach. They give her a bracha. Achoisenu ad hayi la'alfei revava. By the way, the Chassam Sofer explains, Achoisenu ad hayi la'alfei revava. What is this bracha? You will be thousands and myriads, meaning you will produce the Shvatim of Klal Yisrael, Ephraim and Menashe. Veheim rivivos Ephraim, veheim alfei Menashe. But the Baal Haturim says, Ad hayi, hayi is gematria koi. In you it should be fulfilled the bracha of koi yiyeh zaracha. Now, I want to share with you one last Baal Haturim that I'm going to share with you now. And Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach, this Baal Haturim will be the subject of our Shiur next week. Namely, the final Baal Haturim on the Parsha. The Parsha ends with the fall of Yishmael. Al Pnei Chol Echav Nafal. On the face of all of his brothers he fell. And then the Pasuk says, Ve'ele Toldos Yitzchak. Says the Baal Haturim. This teaches us that when Yishmael falls in the end of days, then Ben David will flourish, who is from the descendants of Yitzchak. So here we see an amazing thing. The final Golus, not Golus Edom, Golus Yishmael. Who's going to take us out of Golus Yishmael? Mashiach Ben David. But why is Mashiach specifically connected to Yitzchak, Ve'ele Toldos Yitzchak? And what role does Mashiach Ben Yosef play? And what about Golus Edom? Be'ezras Hashem, that will be the subject of our discussion on the Baal Haturim next week. Until then, please enjoy the rest of the week. And a guten Shabbos haba aleinu tova, Parshas Chayei, Shabbos mevorchim, Chodesh Kislev haba aleinu l'tova.